What is up, you awesome muffins, and welcome back to another video. Today's video has been heavily requested over the course of 3 to 4 years. Um, and the question I've been asked the most is, Pasqualina, why did you leave YouTube overnight? I literally quit YouTube without saying goodbye about 3 to 4 years ago. So today's video is explaining exactly why. Just a disclaimer. Um, This video will get a little deep in parts, so if you are younger and watching and don't really want to be hit with real adult life, then I advise you to probably not watch. But at the same time, I advise pretty much everyone to listen to what I went through because I wouldn't want anyone else to go through what I did. So I'll take you back, and we have 10 minutes, so I'll take you way back for about 3, 4 years ago. I was living with my partner at the time. We were together for about 5 years before we moved in together. We moved in together, and the first year was really good, really great actually. No problems whatsoever. The last half of the year is where all the major problems came, and it came really fast. And it started off with him going away for the weekend 2 to 3 days, but not actually telling me he was going away. He wouldn't answer my call, so I had no idea where he was. He ignored my WhatsApp messages, he ignored my text messages, but he clearly kept going online, so he was clearly communicating with people. He just chose not to communicate with me, his girlfriend, who he was living with at the time. Basically, I was being ghosted while being in my own relationship. As you can imagine, it was very stressful emotionally and emotional and physically. Um, so that started to happen, and obviously it caused me a high amount of anxiety because if he wasn't in the house when I came home, I instantly panicked and worried, thinking, is it going to be 2 to 3 days before I see him again? 4 days, 5 days? Is this the last time I'm going to see him? Is he just suddenly not ever going to show home? Would I need to call the police? There was a lot going through my head, and that basically kickstarted off a whole lot of different things. I started to think to myself, he was cheating on me. I thought, he must be cheating on me. So I confronted him about it. I went, look, are you seeing someone else by seeing me? And, he hugged me and said, no, I would never cheat on you. And in a relationship of that long, you kind of have trust in your partner. So although he was doing what he was doing, I still trusted that he wouldn't do the dirty on me. But I was so naive, guys. I was so naive. Of course he was cheating on me. He was cheating on me so much. Every time he wasn't at the house, he was with her. His sister was in on it. His family was in on it. They lied for him, and it was disgusting. And I absolutely felt humiliated when I found out he was cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend who cheated on him. Scandalous, I know. The problem came because we lived together, we had a mortgage together, we had a lot of commitments together. Now, he was making a ton more money than what I was making. I was making about, I don't know, £1,000 a month at the time because I had a job, but it wasn't great. It was just working part-time at a retail store, so I wasn't making much. He had his own business, so he was making a lot more money than what I was. And he used it against me a lot. He used to shout at me because I couldn't afford to do X, Y, Z. So again, your confidence, your self-esteem is all knocked and everything. But we had a house, and when we broke up, my name was on the mortgage and his name was on the mortgage as 50-50. So technically, it is 50-50 still. If I wanted to be in that house still until we sold it, until he bought me out, I could have been. But what he did was when we broke up, he instantly said to me, if you come to this house, I'm going to get the police. I'm going to get the police, and I'm going to get the locksmith to change the lock in the house. Now, naive me, I was so worried. I didn't realize the rights I had. He could never have done that legally because my name was on the mortgage. So he couldn't have locked me out of my own house. But at the time he did, and I allowed him to because I was so scared because he kept threatening me with, I have more money for better lawyers. So of course I wasn't going to do anything which would have caused him to get me into trouble at the time, I thought. Within a week of us breaking up, he moved in his new girlfriend into my house, um, and basically locked me out of my house. He didn't want to sell the house, he wanted to keep it, but he didn't want to buy me out of the house. For those who don't understand mortgages, I'm not going to get too much into it, but he wanted to keep the house, I didn't, so he should have bought me equally out of my part of the house, which he didn't. And for a year after splitting up with him, I was still fighting for the money that he owed me for living in the house that he no longer wanted me to live in, but he didn't also want to sell. Um, I should have got a lot more money than what he gave to me in the end, but after a year of fighting, after a year of feeling absolutely, ridiculed by the town, felt humiliated where I lived, I just was happy with the money I had. And I thought, you know what, it's money. I can earn my own money. It's not the end of the world. I was still living with my parents because they kindly let me live with them again, so I wasn't homeless, because he wouldn't have cared if I was homeless. Um, so to cut ties with him, to cut ties with the toxicness in my life, I took the money, the very little money he gave to me, and I cut ties with him and left. And that, guys, was the happiest day of my entire life. And that was about 3 years ago. The the final time I ever talked to him, and I've never looked back since. That was a huge part of my toxic life over with. But I was still left with the emotional abuse that the emotional scars from the emotional abuse, and it destroyed me. It completely destroyed me, and it destroyed the person I was. I wasn't happy anymore. I wasn't. During that whole year of that trying to get what I deserved, it destroyed me, and I don't know really how to explain it, but sorry, I had to pause that then because my throat was like tightening because I needed to cough. He destroyed me basically. My self-confidence went, like self-esteem went, literally everything went. So much so, I was terrified of getting in front of the camera. I was terrified in going out in the town because I thought people were going to laugh at me. I thought people were going to judge me. I felt worthless because I was cheating on them, and it really not me. So after getting my money for the house, well, part of the money for the house, I thought, I need to really work on myself. I really need to get my life back together. I need to start feeling happy again because I can't continue to live feeling the way I was feeling. Um, so I focused on myself. I started to do support work, and as a support worker, I was working 80, 90-hour shifts a week. I was staying 4, 5 times a week at the person's house I was supporting. I worked weekends, I worked weeknights. I literally did not have any time in my life at that moment because I threw all my time into my job because it was a huge distraction. Um, After 2 years of that job, I realised that although I really love supporting people and it's such an incredible job to do and fulfilling job to do, it wasn't for me. I'm a people person and I'm crazy wacky, and the type of person I was, I needed, you know, a lot of social interaction a day, and I just wasn't getting that, and I still felt empty and sad inside. So I found the job I'm in now, and it is honestly the happiest time I've ever been in work position. I'm actually feeling like me again. I've got an amazing, credible partner who does nothing but support me, and so much so, I think he's the one who encouraged me heavily for the past 2 years to actually start my YouTube channel again. Um, if I didn't have his support, I don't think I would have come back to YouTube, but it's not because I obviously didn't miss you guys or um, didn't like doing what I'm doing. I missed you guys so much, but you had to have gone through what I went through to understand why I didn't want to touch YouTube. It was memories. It was a time of my life where I thought maybe he left me because I wasn't exactly girly, but realizing actually the reason why he left me was his own issues, and it was nothing I did wrong because I did everything right in that relationship. I worked my absolute bollocks off for that relationship, and I treated him like a king and he just couldn't treat me like that back. So if I could go back to my younger self, I would say, Pasqualina, do not take this emotional abuse that you are taking right now. It will destroy you. And if I could go back in time, I wouldn't stay in that relationship because I cared for him, because I loved him. I would have left no matter how hard it was, knowing that I would have saved myself being destroyed and just being a shell of what I used to be. So basically, I left all those years ago to save my mental health, and I couldn't say goodbye because I didn't have the time to say goodbye. I just had to stop. But now I'm in such a better place, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop unless YouTube close my channel down or Nintendo close my channel down or whatever. But I think I'm here for the long run, and I just wanted to explain that because it was nothing you guys did. I was doing it to save myself. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope now you understand more on why I left.